The intention of this video is to give you an overview of what the astrology for the next few months are going, what is going to be entailed, and what is it going to be like. So the very, very first thing happening that's coming up for us is that Mercury is going to station direct on May 14th. This is going to happen at 5 degrees of Taurus. And this is where, we can have a lot of intellectual clarity. We can, really integrate the lessons that we have learned and the communications and the issues that we have been, dealing with and working with, sort of how we've grown and what have we reevaluated over those 3 weeks. We can really see in a different way, and we can start to move forward with communication, um, and we can writing, speaking, signing contracts, all those things become more, I guess, recommended by astrologers to do at that time. However, we do have the remaining shadow phase of Mercury, the Mercury retrograde season of Taurus. That's not going to end until May 31st. So we're still sort of going through that, next period of time where we are integrating things. We are having, final time to, where Mercury is crossing that territory again, a final time to finalize things, get things right, resolve things, and sort of test out all the wisdom that we have gained, and move forward with things. And we can officially move forward when Mercury leaves shadow on May 31st. But while we're at it, a couple of days later, on May 16th, May Jupiter, the planet of expansion, luck, good fortune, and abundance, enters Taurus. And when this happens, growth and prosperity become more probable for, on offer. Where if we take a direction to do something that we value, and if we're alignment with our path of values, and we are, valuing ourselves, and we are cultivating more inner peace and stability and security in our lives, we will get lucky during, the period when Jupiter is in Taurus. And we can also look to the bounty that the earth has to provide, all the resources, all of the, especially nature, and the departments of food and agriculture, all those things are going to be expanded upon. Maybe prices will go up, who knows what will happen. And Jupiter is going to be in Taurus for, the next year until May 25th of 2024. So that's big. However, before we can get into the really juicy, positive, fortunate side of the energy of Jupiter and Taurus, we have a fixed grand cross where Jupiter is going to be squaring Pluto at the very beginning of Aquarius, and then Mars is going to move into Leo on May 20th, and it's going to oppose Pluto. And we also have the lunar nodes, the North Node in Taurus, the South Node in Scorpio, involved with this. So all the fixed signs are going to be lit up and illuminated and really put under the microscope in a really huge way during this time. And Jupiter, and Pluto coming together is, expansion, of things like power and death, rebirth, the process of evolution, where we can see the shadows of things, and Jupiter may expand the shadows of Pluto and Aquarius, which is, groups, what's going on in, your community with your friends, if there's any, finding out who's true and who's not, um, you know, finding out just also, technology and how, it's serving us and are we using it for good or for evil? That's the whole Pluto and Aquarius conversation, especially AI and especially Chat GPT, which is huge at this particular time. And all of those things may be looked at possibly in a bigger way at this time. And also, Mars opposite Pluto is, sort of at worst volatile, intense energy, but then it's also really powerful energy where you can empower yourself to be really, assertive and driven, to really go at something with all that you got and really. It's sort of like, drive the whole family out of the desert into the oasis sort of energy where you're so loyal and so, driven. And, there's such a passionate, dramatic, powerful energy with Mars opposite Pluto, where, so, super dynamic. So, those are kind of the aspects, and you can put all those pieces together. And of course, the fixed Grand Cross lasts for, from May 17th through the 20th, and there's a variety of, aspects to it that I'm going to be breaking down more in a video that I do on the Grand Cross and on the new moon in Taurus on May 19th, happening at 28 degrees of Taurus. So, and then Mars enters Leo on May 20th. This is about where we can have a lot of courage, where we can, really show up with, putting a lot of pride and passion into, what we're doing. Mars rules Aries, and so, the sun rules Leo. And so the sun is exalted in Aries, and Mars in Leo is a really very strong placement for Mars in the sense that it's in trine with, because Leo trines Aries, and Mars in Leo is very similar to Mars in Aries in a way that it can also, when I think about Mars in Leo, I think about the hero archetype, and I associate that, and I may talk about that in the video that I do about Mars in the sign of Leo. So, that's happening on the 20th. The sun enters Gemini on May 21st, and we have a quieter, month for the rest of May. The sun enters Gemini. We're speaking, we're communicating, we're, thinking, we're becoming more versatile, adaptable, all those kinds of things going on. June 1st, June 2nd, the very, very beginning of June, we do have Jupiter and the North Node conjuncting at the very beginning of Taurus. And this is energy that is really productive energy for spiritual growth, where we can really move up on our path of evolution and destiny, and circumstances and people open up to us where we can evolve in new ways when it comes to, the same Taurus, matters. So, it's really positive. Then, June, beginning of June, we also have the full moon in Sagittarius. We're examining our beliefs. Are they limiting? Are they freeing us? This is a great time for travel, adventure, open-mindedness, expansion, and, fun. Really comes down to that, especially with the, full moon energy, because it's sociable, extroverted kind of energy where we can get out and about, and it does bring things to light. So, And then, moving forward to June 11th, Pluto is going to step back into Capricorn. It's going to move into Capricorn, and it's going to hit the anaretic degree of Capricorn. So 29 degrees of Capricorn. And this is, where issues around power structures, tradition, the law, the way that things have always been done, governments or any authority figures in our lives that disempower and limit us, that have the rules, have the regulations, really put in place those boundaries for us. Those are, we're sort of purging the older paradigms, and so we're going back and destructing and taking down or tearing down the old so that we can move into the new. And what this can also be is we can step into our own inner power, our own inner authority, where we can know what's right for us and become empowered enough to move on that particular path and march to the beat of our own drum in life, where we are our own inner teacher and inner authority as individuals. So Pluto is moving retrograde through the sign of Capricorn. It did stay in Aquarius on, from March 23rd through June 11th, and I'm going to do another video about Pluto moving back into Capricorn and sort of delve deeper into what that is about. Moving forward, around the 17th, we have a new moon in Gemini at the end of the sign, towards the end of the sign, where we can set new intentions around our interactions, especially our community, our neighbors, how we are communicating, are we open to learning new things, how adaptable are we, and how are we using our intellectual energy. So that is going on, and there's certain aspects that new moon makes to other planets. So yeah, and then right after that, June 19th, June 20th, right there is when Venus in Leo, because Venus is going to enter Leo on June 5th. That's also the day that Mercury is going to make an exact conjunction to Uranus. And this is sudden information, new information that is out of the blue, unexpected. We are making a radical departure from what is known and what is familiar when it comes to the information that we already know. We're thinking up new, innovative ideas. And we're also, it's a great opportunity for us to awaken in us our own intellectual genius, and to communicate with people who have these new ideas, and to bring new ideas to the table, but also receive those new ideas. And then it's an earth sign, so how practical are those ideas? Can they be applied? Can they be manifested, materialized? And of course, taking action towards those ideas is always important, because earth wants the results and it wants things to be done about it. So doesn't want it just to be up here in the mind, and it doesn't want it just to be like pipe dreams and ideas and what's abstract and what is mental. Like, let's ground those ideas into practical manifestation. So Venus is going to enter Leo on June 5th. This is not going to be a normal transit, because Venus is going to move at its regular speed from June 5th to around June 20th. Starting on June 20th, when it hits around 12 degrees of Leo, it's going to start slowing down, it's going to move slower, it's going to come closer to the earth, love, beauty, romance, pleasure. All those things are going to be really huge themes, and it's really going to be more available and more noticeable. We're going to be more aware of those things during the Venus retrograde season. And Venus is going to go retrograde on July 22nd. And then it's going to move backwards in Leo until September 3rd. And then October, it's going to exit its shadow. It's going to, move on to Virgo. And so, Venus in Leo really comes down to, our heart energy. It comes down to really, showing a lot of passion in our relationships. Where do we feel like we are given that, love and that respect and that, adoration? Or, are people, proud of us? Do we feel like we are loved, and are the people in our world being loyal to us? Are we being loyal to them? What and whom are we loyal to? And it's also a great idea to reevaluate our sort of creative, of what do we love to do creatively, and to maybe go back over and maybe look back to the things that you used to do that were creative and playful and fun, and go back and this is an opportunity to redo and rekindle that inspiration and that joy that was before then. So, watching old shows that you enjoyed, or maybe getting back to, writing novels or writing poetry, or, if anything where you are going back to something is, it's a favorable time for that. I also associate, Leo's very materialistic sign. It does deal with objects of beauty. And so Venus retrograde in Leo. This is a great time for objects to be repurposed. I think of garage sales, the idea of garage sales where you are, going and, buying things from others, and maybe, bring and buy, like releasing old things to then take, new things, in exchange. And so, yeah. So, those are a couple of little, thoughts about that. And, in the world of, astrologers and the pop, culture of astrology, people say all these, things which you should or shouldn't do with Venus retrograde. It doesn't get as bad of a rap as Mercury retrograde, yet it's also something to be careful of. Just be mindful when you're getting, plastic surgery or anything, anything like that. All those kind of things like that. So, that's, an overview of what is going on. And then the Sun enters Cancer on June 21st. Now we're moving into looking at our home and family, looking at our, emotional world and how we're nurturing others, how we are being nurtured. Those Cancerian and those lunar themes, since Cancer is ruled by the moon. And so moving into July, very, very early on in the month, we have a full moon in Capricorn opposing the Sun in Cancer. So, the father versus the mother, our home life, our family life versus our, career and our goals and what we want to, manifest out in the world. And balancing, the emotions, the heart and the head, and feeling our emotions, but then coming at it from a place of expressing those with responsibility, Capricorn. So that's, very on early in the month, happening around the middle of Cancer. And so, yeah, so then, moving forward, we do have something really huge happening. on July 17th, July 18th, the lunar nodes are changing signs. And, I'm going to do another video about that. And I highly recommend going to see the videos about the lunar nodes. So the south node moving into Libra and the north node moving into Aries. There is a channel, it's called Owning Authenticity, and, Carly is the one who is, the creator of that channel, and she is currently producing a whole video series on the transit of the North Node moving through Aries and the South Node moving through Libra. It is so in-depth and insightful, and there's so many pearls of knowledge and wisdom, and there is so much in those videos where you're really, taking a deep dive and really having a really rich, understanding of this particular cycle. So, you can, check those videos out. And yeah, so, the first one is, let's look at the lunar nodes in Aries and Libra, but let's also look at the previous nodal transits. Let's look a little bit later to a couple more nodal transits when the nodes are in, different pairs of signs. The second video is more of an overview, an in-depth overview at that, of the themes of the transit in Aries and Libra. And then the third video is the deep dive video. So you can check those out. I'll be doing a video about that in July. What it basically comes down to is, where we are releasing relationship patterns of being codependent with another person, of where we being so harmonious and so compromising and so, where we want to keep the peace, but we're losing our sense of identity, and we're getting so caught up into what the other wants and what the other thinks that we don't want any conflict. We don't want to rock the boat. And, there's a sort of, trauma or, wound, collectively and perhaps individually that we may notice, and especially for the people born with this transit, that born under the transit of North Node being in Aries. This is going to be their nodal return. And, so the South Node in Libra is about, where we can be diplomatic and fair, but then we're so caught up in the, our relationships with another person that we're not moving towards self-actualization. Really being, being authentic and, owning our power and having the courage to go after what we want to go after in our own lives, and, coming back to ourselves, and really, living a life for ourselves. And it also deals with being self-sufficient. So there's so much there. It is July 22nd that Venus does station to go retrograde in Leo, as I said. And then Pluto is also going to be squaring the lunar nodes in Aries and Libra. What's interesting, and I just want to leave you with this, because we're talking May, June, and July here with this video. What's interesting is that Pluto is squaring the nodes. So Pluto's in Aquarius, very early degree Aquarius, squaring the lunar nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. But then when Pluto moves back into Capricorn, and then you also have the lunar nodes moving back, because they move retrograde into Aries and Libra, Pluto will be squaring Aries and Libra. Pluto will be in Capricorn, that's the cardinal sign, squaring Aries and Libra in opposition to cardinal signs, making a sort of T-square. So two opposite each other and one squaring, like a T, like this, or, however you want to look at it. With a release point being in Cancer. With the tension, with the missing piece of that configuration. And that's what the astrologer Deborah Silverman talks about, is when she talks about T-squares in the heavens, she talks about the release point, which is the other cardinal sign that is not included in the T-square, and tying that in. So that really is where we're huge, themes of Pluto and themes of the North nodes are again lit up. So and that's going to be happening at the kind of around the end of July, towards the end of the month. So that is just an overview of what is going on astrologically the next few months. I really, really hope that you enjoyed that, enjoyed this, and I will connect with you on the future videos. I'm sending you love and peace, and bye for now.